Due to excessive human intervention in the natural course of Earth's processes, the world is engulfed in eternal frost, and people are forced to hide in the depths of the earth. One of the outposts is filled with horrifying sirens and people's screams. In its tunnel, a young couple tries to hide from their pursuers, but just as they reach a closed door, they meet their demise at the hands of an enemy. During this time, on a neighboring outpost, 3 people step out onto a snow-covered terrace. A visibly unwell man asks for one last chance or to be set free altogether, but Mason sees no improvement after the time and medicine spent on him and denies his request. Repairing a satellite installation, technician Sam sees Mason aiming a gun at the infected man and immediately rushes to stop this vigilante act. The man reminds them that they have no right to violate the freedom of choice of the sick, as only the person decides how their life will end, by a bullet or leaving the community. Hearing him out, Mason claims he is acting for the safety of the community and shoots the fleeing man in the back. Because people live in a confined space, the chances of catching a cold increase, and a small supply of resources dooms society to a fatal outcome. Once, such a case with the flu claimed the lives of 20 people in just a week, prompting Briggs, the current leader of the 7th colony, to adopt new sanitary and epidemiological norms and rules. Now, anyone showing the first symptoms of infection is placed in a quarantine zone, later tested and treated. If all else fails, a person is forced to choose between going into the cold wilderness or a quick merciful bullet. Sam descends inside where adults and children work hard for the common good. People maintain a population of bees and grow seeds, though not in as large quantities as before. However, they hope to someday find warm land with fertile soil, which, by the way, the main character does not believe in. The man finds the community leader Briggs to discuss Mason's inappropriate behavior regarding the infected. The commander takes Sam's words into account but asks him to focus on more important matters. Cooper, the liaison of the 7th colony, receives an SOS signal from colony number 5, with no response to their messages. Since the signal comes a week after radio silence, this prompts Briggs to organize an emergency meeting within half an hour. Sam heads to Victor, responsible for livestock, and learns that due to a lack of protein, there have been stillborn litters of rabbits. Unfortunately, among the 12 long-eared individuals, only one female remains, and she refuses to breed. At that moment, Briggs reprimands his former comrade Mason for not allowing Hal to decide his fate on his own. However, Mason believes his actions are the only correct ones, otherwise, all the departed will attack the colony as soon as their food runs out. Sam goes to his girlfriend, Kai, and asks her for soy feed to boost the rabbit's energy. While the girl is getting the pellets, Sam notices a location displayed on her computer. She doesn't give in and believes that if Briggs managed to restore satellite communication, she can find an active weather station using the radar. After some time, people gradually gather in the common hall. Sitting far away from everyone, hidden, are Dexter and his wife, Elena. Dexter asks Elena to breathe slowly and deeply to suppress her cough, but Sam still notices their unhealthy appearance. Dex claims they are fine and focuses on the commander's speech. Briggs informs them that the neighbors sent a distress signal 2 hours ago. Considering the tragic history of colony number 3, they are obligated to respond to the 5th colony's call. Mason doesn't want to waste his resources, spare parts, and food on outsiders and is very upset about it. Briggs ignores him and still plans to assess the situation. He asks Dexter to go with him, but instead, technician Sam and volunteer Graydon, Victor's son, are called upon. At the end of the meeting, Elena can't hold back any longer and starts coughing. Everyone panics, puts on masks, and rushes out of the room, sending her and her husband to the quarantine zone. To prevent Mason from making hasty decisions on his own again, Kai is left in charge instead of him. This appointment upsets the commander's former comrade, and he asks not to delay the check of the married couple for the virus. Briggs orders not to make any decisions until his return. The young man searches for his mother in a snowstorm and eventually finds her lifeless body in the snow. Sam wakes up in horror from what he saw and washes his face with cold water. The voice of his beloved finally brings him back to his senses.
A fucking dream. It wasn't your fault.
Kai helps distract Sam from his troubling thoughts with a kiss and leads him to bed. The next morning, the group sets out on a mission through the icy city. Their vision is continually obscured by relentless snowfall. It's been so long since Sam felt the warmth of the sun that he can't even remember the last time its rays broke through the clouds. People once tapped into the Earth's depths for fuel and constructed towering structures to manipulate the weather. Now, these once valuable machines serve no purpose for humanity, standing as silent, snow-covered monuments to a bygone era. On their way to the target, the team approaches a partially destroyed bridge. As they cross it, a part of the road collapses under Briggs's feet, but he manages to step back in time. At their own risk, the men jump over the gaping chasm and continue on. At the crossing, they find the lifeless body of a man who killed his family before taking his own life. Later, the group reaches an old evacuation helicopter and decides to spend the night there. Briggs contacts his colony and learns that Dex and Elena's health is deteriorating, and Mason demands that the couple be tested earlier than scheduled. Briggs reminds him that this is against the rules, and such matters are Kai's responsibility. The commander authorizes Cooper to use force against Mason if he disobeys his orders. Graydon finds a men's magazine under the seat and gets engrossed in photos of women in bikinis, which becomes a subject for jokes aimed at the young man. After a while, Briggs mentions that he once found Sam not far from their current location and asks him to share his story. Sam recalls that he and his family once lived in a mine with the other miners' families. They ran out of food, and his father and other men went to the city to look for provisions, but no one returned. Those who stayed behind ate all the animals they had. Sam decides that they would have a better chance of survival outside and leads his mom and sister to the surface. Suddenly, a snowstorm hits, and in the blizzard, he loses his family. If Briggs hadn't saved the young man, he would have suffered the same fate. The next day, the team reaches the habitat of the third colony and sees red streaks at the entrance to the mine, spreading throughout the corridor. Graydon suggests staying outside, but Sam suggests they stick together. Finding no one, the trio prepares to leave when they hear a noise behind a scratched, closed door. Sam skillfully picks the lock, and as they enter, they spot a man crouched beneath a piece of tarpaulin. Startled by their presence, the man screams in fear and retreats. Once Leland recognizes that they are not a threat, his panic subsides. He urgently requests that they shut the door behind them. Sam offers him water and food before asking Leland to recount what happened. Leland informs them that he has been hiding in this room for a while. He doesn't know what happened to Rest, but he has something to share with the group. He shows them a video message that came to their base as soon as they were able to fix the antenna. On the screen appears a casually dressed man who tells them that they managed to restore the meteorological machine and clear the sky within a 3 kilometers diameter. He also informs them that they have fertile land, but they need seeds. The recording cuts off, and the group only has part of the necessary coordinates. Leland explains that they were able to identify the area they needed and sent people for reconnaissance, but it led to nothing. Instead, danger came to their house following the tracks of the reconnaissance group. While the group members search the room and gather everything they need, they ask the man to show the location on the map and offer him to join them since he sent the SOS signal. However, Leland denies his involvement in transmitting the signal, meaning his enemies are still here. The depth of the mine prevents Sam from contacting his colony, and the guys plan to leave this place. As they exit into the corridor, they hear strange sounds and head towards them. The last survivor pushes Graydon out of the door and closes it again, realizing he is in danger. The deeper the team moves, the clearer the screams become. The men find a lit area and see mutilated bodies hanging on hooks, and next to them, a male figure is persistently using an axe on human body parts. The others are feasting on limbs and sharpening their teeth. The group freezes in horror, observing this gruesome scene. The butcher senses their presence and turns towards the guests. Before he can attack, Sam shoots him, thereby waking up a pack of sleeping cannibals. After shooting another one and injuring the leader, the trio tries to escape the same way. Sam tries to fend off the pursuers, but against such a number, Briggs' dynamite proves more effective. While the men are distracted, 2 bloodthirsty beasts attack Graydon and stab him with a knife. The commander rushes to the cruel men and takes them out one by one with a pickaxe, but he fails to save Victor's son. Since the men can't help the poor guy, they try to hide from the cannibals and climb to the second floor. Sam shoots one of the wild men and realizes he's out of bullets. At this moment, the initiative is taken over by the commander, and as the guy climbs the stairs towards the exit, Briggs blocks the path of the cannibals, enraging their leader. Another monster lunges at him from the darkness on the right, but his military skills help him defeat the enemy. When both make it out of the mine, he throws dynamite inside and destroys the building to its foundations. 2 men make it to the evacuation helicopter, and although Sam suggests moving on, Briggs insists on stopping due to the risk of hypothermia at night. During the rest, Briggs tells Sam that people are capable of anything for survival. In the army, he was a captain and participated in a rescue operation. Initially, tens of thousands of people gathered on one plateau. They were treated, fed, and protected. But when the food ran out, armed people began to choose who would live and who would die. Refusing to take part in such cruelty, Briggs and his squad member Mason set sail and established their own community. Early in the morning, the guys head towards the house and find out that 20 armed cannibals, led by the pack leader, are chasing them. Sam is afraid to lead the butchers to their colony, but Briggs has a plan to stop the pursuers. The 2 run across a bridge and barely make the jump. Briggs lights the dynamite, places it in the middle of the bridge, and hides with his partner behind broken road signs, but the wind extinguishes the fuse. Sam tries to stop the commander, who is going back to the explosives, but he knocks him off balance and rushes to try again. While the cannibals unsuccessfully jump across the chasm, Briggs manages to light the dynamite and fights with the cannibals who still manage to cross the gap to take them with them during the explosion. The commander destroys the middle of the bridge at the cost of his life. Sam sees that the cannibal leader and a few others are still alive and rushes to warn his colony of the impending danger. At this moment at the outpost, Mason brings a family couple out onto the street and shoots Elena, ignoring her plea for help. Kai gets angry that the man is again disobeying the commander's orders and points a gun at him. While they argue about who is in charge of the colony, Sam asks for help and collapses unconscious from the cold. The girl notices her beloved and rushes to help him, completely forgetting about Mason. Seizing the moment, Dex runs away to avoid his wife's fate. Seeing a shadow on the snow, the girl turns around and gets hit on the head with a gun butt. A few hours later at the outpost, Sam regains consciousness and tells Victor and his wife that their son is dead. When Mason enters the room, Sam tries to explain that people are in danger and they need to leave before the cannibals arrive. However, the former soldier thinks the guy is delusional and handcuffs him to the bed. The man explains that from this moment on, power changes hands for the sake of society's survival. Rations are cut in half and only those who work will receive them, while those who fall ill are immediately checked. When Mason leaves the room, a little boy named Randall accidentally bumps into the new commander and steals his keys to free Sam. Sam finds Kai tied up in another room and frees her. He tells the girl that there is a thaw and shows her a rank zone on the radar.
Look. Oh my god. That's gotta be like 8 miles of blue sky.
Mason and Victor go outside to scout the surroundings with binoculars and find no one, but Victor trusts the guy and suggests preparing for a possible attack. Sam and Kai pack boxes of seeds into a bag and hurry to leave, but they are intercepted by Mason and his gang, asserting who's in charge. His passionate speech is interrupted by a noise coming from the street, as if someone is jumping on metal. They head to the server room and see a group of armed people trying to break in. The enraged leader points to a camera showing Dex, who escaped, and smashes the surveillance camera. Mason divides the people into 2 categories. Those who can shoot go to the main entrance, and the rest are sheltered in the bunker. While the commander leads the colonists to the main entrance, an armed Cooper stays to guard the storage. The door opens, the noise subsides, but no one enters. The lights go out for a moment, and people don't understand where these creatures have gone. A cannibal jumps out of a ventilation grill and attacks Cooper. Knocking him down, he rushes to the shelter, but the frightened people manage to close the door in his face. Another cannibal finds a lost girl in another corridor and takes her life. The enemies discover the armed team before they realize that the cannibals have infiltrated the ventilation system. A serious battle ensues between the adversaries, in which the cannibals have a numerical advantage. One of the creatures injures Mason, who tries to flee the fight. Victor wants to avenge his deceased son and attacks the pack leader. Despite his good fighting, unfortunately, Victor loses this battle and receives a sword strike to the abdomen. Kai and Sam head to the storage, but Mason is the first to arrive in the hall and blocks the passage right in front of them. One of the survivors hits the new leader on the head and opens the door to save the guys, but a pursuer rushes into the room with them. Kai shoots him, and the colonists meanwhile close the doors, which soon give in to the pressure of the enemies. Mason believes the survivors should remain in the room, but Sam takes matters into his own hands. He opens the ventilation grate and guides the people through it, seeking an escape route. The injured soldier, realizing escape is futile, levels his weapon threateningly at the boy. However, he understands the value of each bullet and hesitates to pull the trigger. When the cannibals break down the doors, he shoots at a container of explosive material, blowing up his enemies. The explosion helps the leader to fly into the ventilation system, and he comes face to face with Sam. The huge bald man throws the boy against the walls of the narrow tunnel, but Sam is saved by a pipe that breaks beneath them. This gives the young man a slight advantage in the fight. He throws whatever he can find at the brute, seemingly unaffected by anything. The leader seizes the upper hand, landing a series of punches on Sam's face. At a certain point, the boy, desperate and hungry, asks the man what he wants from them. Blinded by his own cravings, the bald man replies, "I want more meat." Seizing an opportunity, the leader throws Sam to the ground. This momentary distraction allows Sam to locate a knife, which he plunges into the enemy's leg. The leader's guard drops, and Sam takes control of the situation. Fueled by anger, the young man brutally disfigures his adversary's face with a metal rod. Turning away from the unconscious body to catch his breath, Sam is caught off guard as the enemy grabs his leg. In response, Sam delivers a fatal blow, splitting the man's head open. The surviving people make it to the surface and see that their sanctuary is in flames. Kai worries about her beloved, but he manages to escape, taking the seeds with him. Sam realizes that all this time people lived and died by made-up rules, which are collapsing just like their home. The boy shows a memory card that needs to be taken to a warm place from the video message and suggests everyone start their journey. Now humanity has a small chance of survival. From now on, the only rule this group operates by is to survive. Could you survive under such conditions? Share your thoughts in the comments below, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next videos.